Hello and welcome to another How Do I video. In this video, I will show you how you can benefit from the new SQL timestamp feature in Microsoft Dynamics NAV 2016. At the end of this video, you will have a good understanding of the new SQL timestamp feature on tables, and you will also be able to use it to make integrations between NAV and other systems. In this video, I will guide you through the following steps. First, I will explain the new SQL timestamp feature. Then, I will use it to interface record changes. And finally, I will compare it with the old way of coding. Now let's jump to the first step. In this first step, I will explain the new feature. The SQL timestamp is actually a new parameter on a field in a table. As you might know, on SQL, there is already a field which will contain a timestamp. So when you change a record in NAV, SQL will update this field automatically. But now we can have this value visible in NAV by switching on this property. The value of this field is maintained by SQL and cannot be changed from ZL. Therefore, you need to disable editing in NAV on this field. As we now know how to add this feature, we can move on and use it in the next step. Before I start, I will show you my preparation first. I have created a setup table where we can add a table number that we want to integrate. With the new way of making integrations, we need to store the last timestamp that was synced. This field will later be used to know what changes are made since the last synchronization. On this table, I have created two global functions. The first one is sync table, where we will write the code later to get all the changes that need to be processed. The other one is the export table that will contain some method to make the integration to a web service or a file system, for example. On top of this table, I have created a page where we can configure the integration and also process the changes. Okay, let's dive into the code and make the integration complete. First, I need to create the SQL timestamp field on the table that you want to integrate. For this video, I will take the customer table and add a field like this. It needs to be a big integer, and for best practice, it needs to be editable no. And now we come to the part where we will enable the SQL timestamp property. Now the table is ready to be integrated, and we can move on to the sync table code unit. In this code unit, we need to collect all the table changes and pass them to the export table function. And this can be done as follows. To make my code more generic, I will using the regref. And first, I will clear and open the right table. Then, I will sort the table on the new timestamp field and place the right filter on it, so that the value must be greater than the last timestamp. Next, we will check if there are any records, and if not, we will exit the function, and otherwise we will loop through the records. While we are looping the records, we will pass the current record to the export table function, and we also need to update the last timestamp in the synchronization table, so that the system knows what the last timestamp was. And finally, we close the regref. Okay, now we are ready to test the code to see what the outcome is. To check if my code will work, I need to update some customers. Let's take customer 20,000 and update the credit limit. On customer 10,000 we do the same, and we take one last customer and do the same update. When we open the synchronization setup, you can see that the last timestamp is ended with 11 and that the destination folder is empty. Now when we go back to the synchronization setup, we can start the synchronization. And now the system will export the 3 records and also update the last timestamp, as you can see. And when we check the destination folder, you can see that the system has exported the customers in the same order as we have made the modifications. Now that we have seen the new SQL timestamp feature in action, we can compare it with the old way. As we saw in the new way, we need to create a big integer field and enable the SQL timestamp property on the tables that you want to integrate. Then we need to insert the table in the synchronization setup. And finally, we will loop through every modification that is made since the last synchronization, export the table, and update the last timestamp. Now, when we compare this with the old way, we will see that we need another approach. First, we also need to know which tables need to be integrated, so we will insert it in the synchronization setup. Then, we need to track every record modification through the onDatabase triggers of Code Unit 1. First, the system will check if the table is present in the synchronization setup with the getDatabaseTable trigger setup. And if the table is present, the update of the customer, for example, will be passed through the onDatabaseModify trigger. In this trigger, we will insert the record ID in a synchronization queue table for later use. As I have told, this table will be filled with every record change and waits until it gets processed through another process. So the status will be unchanged until it gets picked up. With a job queue task, we will run a process queue code unit. And in this code unit, we will loop through every unprocessed queue record, as you can see. And in this loop, we will first set the status to in process. Then we will call the export table function. And if there is no error, the status will get changed to processed. Otherwise, it will be set to error and the last error text will get stored. So as you can see, the new way can really simplify the way you integrate record changes between NAV and another system. We are come to the part where I will summarize my steps. First, I have explained the new SQL timestamp feature and showed you where you can enable it on table fields. Then I made use of it to easily find record changes and export them to a file system. And finally, I compared the same functionality with the old way of coding, where we must use the onDatabase triggers of Code Unit 1 to track record changes. In this video, the following topics were covered. First, I gave you the knowledge of the new SQL timestamp feature and showed you how you can enable it on the customer table. And then we made use of it to export all the customer changes to the file system. And at last, I showed you how simple it is to track record changes with this new feature. I also would like to give you some resources where you can find some additional information. On the DLP, you can find more information, including how do I videos like this one. And on MSDN, you can find some dedicated information about this SQL timestamp feature. Thank you for watching this video on how you can benefit from the new SQL timestamp feature in Microsoft Dynamics NAV 2016. This video was created in collaboration with Microsoft and the Training Center Plataan. See you next time in another How Do I video.